All right, welcome everyone to the Career Exploration and Planning online workshop, where we'll help you discover work that fits and works for you. I'm Brittany Cheetah, and I work at Career Force in St. Cloud. Co-facilitating with me today is Marnie Kerfman, and although on her screen it says Joan Burning, it is my coworker Marnie joining us here today. So Marnie, please introduce yourself and let everyone know what you'll be doing today.
Hi, everybody. I am Marnie, as Brittany said. I'm coming to you from Career Force in St. Cloud, and I will be watching the chat box to start out with, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can today. So please feel free to put your questions in there at any time. If we can't get to all the questions today, we will try to follow up after. And then Brittany and I will be kind of switching too. So take it away, Brittany.
All right. Whether you're looking for your first career, a new career, or a better career, it all starts with career planning. It is important to understand that there is no perfect career, but there is a fitting career for each one of us. Career planning is a very important step and is necessary to get you thinking about the careers you may enjoy or want to pursue. Career planning also helps you focus in on the industries and employers that may be a good match for you. By taking this step, you are improving your overall job satisfaction and retention. Knowing what you want means knowing who you are. And with over 20,000 different job titles and over 950 occupations out there, career planning will help direct you to careers that fit your interests, skills, abilities, motivations, personality, and attitude. So today, we'll be talking about a couple of different things to help you get started. We'll be explaining the importance of career planning and why it should be one of the first steps in any job search. We'll provide you with websites containing assessment tools to start the process of collecting information that will help you make career decisions. We'll identify the data tools you can use to find out which jobs are currently in demand. And finally, we'll help you outline a plan of action for yourself. Now, if any of you in the workshop today are claiming unemployment insurance, please know that today's workshop does meet the career exploration class activity that may be in your work search plan. So after today's presentation, please log into your unemployment account and report today's date as your completion date for that activity. Now, if you're a note taker, fantastic. You can take all the notes you want, but if you're a person that prefers to kind of sit back and absorb what we're saying, just know that after today's presentation, we will be sending out the slides and speaker notes along with some additional follow-up material to help you get organized. So we'll be sending all of that information out after today's presentation. All right, so let's start off by acknowledging that we live in a very different world today than we did even 1 year ago. Workplaces are constantly changing and adapting to the world that we live in. Now, more than ever, you must take charge of your career, as employers cannot always guarantee job security, growth opportunities, or promotions. Simply, we're the ones that must navigate and take control of this journey. And along the journey of career planning, you get to discover your interests, strengths, motivations, and you get to learn what brings out the best in you and how you can apply that when making future career decisions. Employers look for employees that have a strong sense of who they are professionally. Career planning will allow you to focus in on an industry and occupation. This will create a plan for a more targeted job search moving forward. The more reasons you have for entering a field will improve your work satisfaction and retention within a job, and long-term, a career. The reasons for entering a particular field will be different for everyone, but they can be found by doing research, taking some assessments, or by taking a look at your natural talents and skills. Think to yourself, what do you want? Or what do you need to get out of your employment? Besides the obvious, we all need the pay, we all want the benefits, but outside of that, what do you want or need? Are you looking for security? Are you a person that wants accolades or recognition? Do you need a really exciting environment? Do you want to work with other people, or do you prefer to work by yourself? Do you like routine in your day-to-day activity, or do you need a little bit of variety? And what about the environment itself? Do you want indoors, outdoors? These are all things that need to be considered. What I suggest is create a scorecard for yourself of your different wants and needs in a next job. I encourage you to sit down literally with a pen and a piece of paper and write down and create a list of your wants and needs in employment. Once you've written down those wants and needs and created your list, I encourage you to go back through and prioritize them, number them from what's most important to what's least important to you on that list. This will help you literally see what traits you should be seeking in a career. When making your list, to kind of help you create that list, I encourage you to go back and reflect on your past jobs. What did you like? What did you dislike? So, for example, did you like or dislike the hours, the pay, the commute? What about the size of the company? Were there growth or educational opportunities? What about the work culture and your relationship with coworkers? The environment itself, or how was that family work-life balance? Analyze what's important to you. Consider what skills do you currently have that you want to take with you moving forward. So talking about creating a plan, most people spend more time planning a trip or a vacation than they do career planning. Why do you think that is? Go ahead and tell us in the chat box why you think it is that people spend more time planning a trip or a vacation than they do career planning. Do you think it's fear, intimidation, the time it takes? So let's see. Yeah, vacations are more fun, I'm seeing, of course. Yep, that seems to be the consensus, is that vacations are more fun, and I completely agree with that. Family, excellent. Yeah, there was one that says you're in control planning that vacation, and that's true. And hopefully by giving you the tools and resources that we're going to today, you can feel a little bit more in control of your career planning. Absolutely. Great. I like the vacation planning is more relaxing versus career planning, not so much. All right. So we can all understand that job searching takes time, but career planning even longer. Give yourself plenty of time and try not to measure your progress against others. Remember that question as a kid when you're on a really long road trip and you're sitting in the back seat and you keep saying, "Are we there yet?" We all get anxious and tired along that journey and can't wait to get to that final destination. So it's very important to take care of yourself and remind yourself that these things do take time. No matter your profession, there is always more to learn and more roads to travel. So how do you start? Let's begin with what's important. Marnie?
I'm here. Pressing all my buttons. Okay. I did see someone said in there too that it's hard to know where to start when you're talking about career planning. And so that's what we're going to help you look at here. So as Brittany said, oh, and one more thing about the chat box. Remember that you can either post your comments or questions to either everyone, so everyone can see them, or to just all panelists, and then just Brittany and I can see them privately. Okay, so sometimes what you want, you've got all those pieces of the puzzle right in front of you. You just have to figure them out and how to put them all together. So like Brittany said, actually sitting down and kind of taking an inventory of what I want and what I need. This is an ongoing process of self-examination and discovering your life's purpose. So You're also doing some goal setting and resetting. Career planning can be very scary for many, but it is necessary to get you thinking about careers that you might enjoy and that give you personal meaning. So an interest assessment is something that can help you learn which careers might be the best fit for you. Self-assessment in general is a process of collecting information about yourself. So first, you'll collect information about your existing knowledge, your preferences, and your values about work. What is most important to you? Then you'll analyze what you found by breaking it all down into manageable and usable chunks so that you can match them with possible careers. Then you'll prioritize those and determine what's most and least important to you. Of course, you'll then need to evaluate your skills against an employer's desired skills. And then finally, you'll make some decisions. These decisions need to be timely and can often involve tough choices, but those choices can be the most rewarding ones you make. A reminder here that you will need to take some risks during career planning. It might feel scary, but job search is sometimes scary and tedious. You'll need to talk to people, even if that's outside of your comfort zone. You'll need to ask for help, even if you're not someone who usually likes to do that. And you'll need to meet new people, like new employers and new networking contacts. So assessments can help you discover what you like or what you dislike and what you're good at. Overall, the assessment results get you really thinking about specific careers that you might enjoy. And if you've taken assessments before, do remember that your likes and dislikes can change over time. And we must say that an assessment won't tell you whether a job will make you happy or be satisfying to you. Assessments are to be used as guides that provide information to help you to make decisions. So we recommend that you take more than one assessment before making decisions and moving forward, especially if an assessment produces results that you do not agree with. Most importantly, pay attention to the work values that you have and the skill sets that the results point to. So tell us in the chat box, what kind of assessments have you taken previously in your professional life, and what did you learn from them? So this might have included a personality survey, interest assessment, work values assessment, maybe an aptitude evaluation. I'm seeing someone said Myers-Briggs, yep, kind of a personality thing, or a skills assessment, right? The technical skills. We are going to introduce you to a couple of sites that we recommend and that you can use for free. Just drag this over here for you. Okay. So at careerforcemn.com, you will find the Change Your Career section. And you'll notice that you do have to be logged in as you use this section. Again, to remind you that we are sending out all the speaker notes and slides. And I did create some screenshot handouts that should help you with navigating from one page to the next. And of course, as always, you can look up your nearest location and call or email staff if you need any help doing this. We can absolutely walk you through it. We could do a video chat, something like this, or we could talk to you over the phone. So let's go into the Change Your Career section. And then once you're here, you'll scroll down until you find the What's Your Next Career section of this page. We're going to click on the first choice here, the first link, Match Your Current Skills to Future Opportunities. And that brings up this page. It's a dashboard, and it gives you 5 different things to try here. Now, one of them is specific to military experience, and I will put a plug in here for your local vet representative. Every location has a vet representative assigned to it, and if you have some military experience that you need to translate into civilian job skills, then those folks can help you do that alongside us. All right, so we're going to look into this first section here. Okay, we're going to go into search skills, the skills matcher. And you'll see that it thinks a little while about this. And up here, you can notice that we've got 5 pages of the skill matcher. And the examples under each skill, like this first one, administration and management, it asks you, how much do you know about business planning and leadership? And then it wants you to pick something from beginner all the way to expert. So it gives you an example. Are you able to complete a timesheet? Kind of in the mid-range, can you monitor or have you monitored a project progress to complete it on time? And then an expert level, have you managed a $10 million company? So depending on where you feel you lie, you just click on one of those buttons and it lights up and you move on to the next. And for each of these 5 pages, you should have about 10 of these skills. And as you continue and then submit, it will think a little bit more and then it will spit out some career matches for you. So this is just one of the skills matchers assessment type things we'll show you. And you'll notice that because you are logged in to CareerForce MN, that this will save the information and you'll be able to log out and come back tomorrow, next week, next month, and look at this again, and even take the matcher again if you need to or would like to. So then let's go into the interest profiler. So we'll search interests. Okay, so this one has 6 web pages and roughly 12 items per page that you are going to strongly dislike all the way to strongly like. And it gives you just specific tasks that one might do within jobs. And it wants to try to get an idea of how much you enjoy these things. And like I said, you'll proceed through each one and see what it gives you at the end. Miss Brittany, any
All right.
thoughts on these?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the first assessment that Marnie showed you, like she said, just go with your initial gut kind of reaction to rating that skill for yourself. Don't overanalyze. Just go through and, put in your first instinctual answer. But then also, when I'm assisting job seekers with an assessment like this, I really do encourage them to take it a couple of different times, but maybe like a day or two apart, because your answers may vary. And then in return, that will vary the results that you get. And then with that second assessment, where you are rating how well you like or dislike different activities, what I really like to emphasize is keep in mind it's how well you like doing that activity, not how good you feel you are at that activity, if that makes sense. So for example, I always say singing. I really like to sing, but I'm awful at it. So I would mark that activity as strongly like, because again, it's how well you like that activity, not how well you do that activity, if that makes sense. So just a couple of things to keep in mind when you're doing those first 2 assessments that Marnie mentioned.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, definitely listen to your gut, go with your gut, pick kind of the first thing that you instinctually gravitate towards. Try not to hover around the middle for too much of the interests or assessment, whatever assessment you're on, because that is hard then for the algorithms to figure out what might be a good fit for you. Then we've got find a career based on my experience. So if you search your experience, it just wants you to put in a specific title. Oh, I was too quick there. There we go. So as you add that work experience, it will confirm that you've added it, and it will give you some ideas of matching careers with matching skill sets. Let's go back up. Anything to say about that one, Brittany?
Yeah, I like that tool because I really think it's beneficial for especially people that are maybe looking at making a career transition. Maybe you've done the same type of job for years and years and years, but now moving forward, you're looking for something new. So this tool I think is great because it gives you ideas of kind of what other job titles you can look for based on the skills that you already have. So that's why I really like this tool is it kind of opens your eyes, if you will, to what other types of jobs you might be able to do.
Definitely. Sometimes we need that door opened wider for us. All right, then I had mentioned the search careers by my military experience. So you can put your specific military titles in there and see what matches as far as your civilian and military skill sets and how they line up. And then finally, you can go to view the in-demand careers, which you'll see a lot around the CareerForce MN website. They're really kind of leaning into those places that really need help right now, the healthcare industry, food distribution, things like that. And so occupations in demand or in-demand careers is something that we will speak about here going forward as well. So I'm going to show you another website here that we encourage people to use. They've got a lot of assessments. CareerWise Minnesota State is something that's obviously a Minnesota branded thing. So you get things that are tied to Minnesota. And again, we will have some screenshots to help you do this on your own in our follow-up materials. So on this page, you'll find that there are 8 different assessments that you can take. And again, to reiterate that we encourage you to take more than one assessment to start seeing some patterns in your results. Jobstat is another Minnesota-based tool that will compare your skill set from previous positions to other jobs that are in demand. And you'll see on here that not all of these are just online. Some of them offer you PDFs so that you can write this out if that is something that works better for you in your process. Some of our favorites are on here, My Skills, My Future, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And ONET, I use that for a lot of things, including resume writing. So after you've taken a few of these and you start to get some results that really reflect who you are and what you want, then I would encourage you to contact someone at your local CareerForce center. If you've taken it and you think, wow, that didn't really seem to help much, but it's interesting, that's good because it's working. If you found it interesting, then it should help you in your job search. And the next step is to contact your local staff so that you can have a discussion about these things. All right, we're going to go back to the slides. Anything in the chat box, Brittany, that we should address or?
You know, there's no questions in the chat, a lot of good conversation, a lot of good comments. But one thing I wanted to add about the career-wise is after you take the assessments and you start really digging into your results, I really encourage people to use this site because, as Marnie said, this is a Minnesota-based website. So when you start looking at your results and it brings up all these statistics about a certain occupation, such as wage, typical education level, those are the statistics for Minnesota. Whereas if you're doing career exploration on other sites, oftentimes those are national averages. And so just your ideas and understanding can get a little bit more skewed. So that's why I really encourage people to use this CareerWise site. So it's a little bit more local information.
Thank you. All right. So, as we said, we'll be sending you some screenshots to help you find what we've shown here today. And we're happy to help you as well by phone or email or video chat. So once you've identified some skill sets that are really important to you and that you're good at, you'll need to do some research on the current demands within the workforce. You'll want to make sure the job prospects are bright for the path that you choose in your area. And that's something that we can help you with too. The research options are really endless and can often feel overwhelming. So give us a call or an email to get help finding what you need faster instead of struggling alone. Many of these workshops are a starting point for people. And once you've listened today and maybe you've done some of this work on your own, please give us a call or an email to get started on the rest of your job search. It's always good to have a second opinion, have a sounding board, have someone with a different perspective listening to what you'd like to do or that you don't know what to do with your job search. So many employers are hiring right now during the COVID-19 pandemic, and they do want to connect with people like yourself looking for work right away. You'll see the top 30 jobs in demand in Minnesota right now on careerforcemn.com. The jobs are listed in order of demand with jobs in top demand at the top and then the list going below. Each job will include a description with a link to occupation details, including a short video. They'll include some general wage data statewide, and then they'll include job searches to get you started finding open jobs. So please put any questions you have in the chat box right now about your career search, about CareerForce MN, and we will try to do our best to get to them. All right, so remember that an average job seeker like yourself has 500 to 800 skills. This includes your soft skills, your job-specific and technical skills, and your transferable skills. Using those skills that are most important to you and that you're best at really increases your job satisfaction and retention once you're back into work. So to assist you in thinking beyond your current or previous job titles, here's one other tool that will help you imagine a different path. All right. Bring up myskillsmyfuture.org. This one is pretty easy. There's a big blank in the middle there, and you put in your previous job title or a job title that you've got a lot of experience in. And it goes through and finds the best match. If it's not exactly correct, as far as yesterday I put in the word server, thinking there were a lot of servers from restaurants who might be looking for work right now. Well, in this particular database, it was called waiters and waitresses. So I had to click on this, this drop-down box here and find what I wanted really. So then as you scroll down, you'll find that there are matches to, again, the skill set that you used as a welder. And the best match looks like sheet metal workers. If you hover over, will give you that quick look. And then you'll notice that some of the jobs have the bright outlook towards them with the little sun, just saying that they're expected to grow quickly, either because of retirements or just projected job growth within the industry. I think one of the handiest things here, especially if you move down a ways and you want to compare skills with something that you've not done before, but you definitely have the potential to do, you can click on that compare skills, and it will give you, of course, everybody's concerned about salary, so that's the first thing that pops up, but it gives you this nice side-by-side comparison of what you were maybe making to what you could make in the new position. And then it gives you similar skills and knowledge. And on some of them, it will give you gaps. And then, of course, the training, licensing, and certification that is available and needed for specific changes. So let's try another one. I want to see if I can find one with the skill gaps. There we go. Again, the side-by-side comparison telling you specifically that building and construction or public safety and security would be a place where you'd need to learn a little bit more. And that's where our friends in the dislocated worker programs come in. At each of the locations around the state of Minnesota, each career force location can assist you with a dislocated worker program where you'd meet with a career planner, you'd do some similar assessments and tests, and they would help you to see if you could get some training, education, or help with certificates and licensure for a new position. Brittany, any thoughts or insights into My Skills, My Future?
Yeah, so with My Skills, My Future, I always kind of say it's got kind of a silly title to it, but it really is a good website. And what I encourage people to use this site for, again, is just to broaden your horizons on what type of positions that may be fitting for your skill sets, but also what titles can you search for moving forward. So if you're looking at making a slight career transition, this one is good is because let's say you've been working in human resources for, I don't know, 15 years and you're over that gig, you don't want to work in human resources anymore. Check out My Skills, My Future. It would give you other titles or possibly professions that you can work in utilizing those same skill sets. So basically, what else can you do with the skills you already have? And so Marnie just kind of brought up a quick example there, but that's what I point people to, just to get those wheels turning as to, again, what else can you do with the skills you already have? And for a lot of folks, it can be really eye-opening. And then also, Marnie, we have a couple of questions that have come in.
So, yes, I see them. So what is green? That's a really good question. Yeah, it says that they might include jobs that conserve energy, reduce pollution, or recycle goods. In some generations, those things right there are high on their list as far as purpose within work. And so those jobs are marked with that green leaf. Good eye there. All right, and then what is a dislocated worker? So a dislocated worker is anybody who has lost their job through no fault of their own and might need some help getting to the next position.
And then we have two more questions. And I think this one is referring to career force, but it asks, can you sort jobs by part-time, remote? What are those filters like?
Yes, this is a really good question and something that I had to start learning starting in April. On these websites, where we're doing more exploration and planning, I haven't seen any ever. I will. A good example would be when someone north of the Twin Cities was looking for a position, maybe with MDH, Minnesota Department of Health. They were hiring people through an international staffing organization for case investigators or contact tracers, and a lot of other positions. So even after watching the hour-long career fair recording and messing around with the website, it took me a while, but I found that if I searched for the word remote in their keyword search on that employer's website in their career page, that I could sort things, and the word remote actually brought me everything that said under the location work from home. And now some work from home is state specific, you'll find, like they want everybody who is working for MDH to be in Minnesota. So it just really depends on what website you're on, but there are some ways to search for just remote jobs or work from home jobs. And so if you have questions like that, please contact your local staff at your career location. Any thoughts on looking for remote work, Brittany?
No, I completely agree with everything that you just said. Another question that came in, and this one I'm not too familiar with. It might be a little bit more location specific, but it asks, are the career kits still available?
I am not sure. I have not heard of career kits, but I know
Yes.
that we have lots of different partner agencies with each location throughout the state. So I would contact the location and ask if they're still available.
Yeah, and then just another question that I want to address here. It asks about the little leaf icon. And the little leaf icon does mean that it's a green position. So those green positions that Marnie was explaining, one and the same. The little leaf icon is the green position.
Yeah, and I realize that on your screens out there, it might be very tiny, so I can read it here. It says, green occupations include jobs that might help conserve energy, reduce pollution, or recycle. Good questions here. But yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces in the site, particularly. You can see that you can do some change. You can put in your specification here, and it will change the information a little bit for you. I might ask my computer to do a lot here today, or the bandwidth to do a lot, the way it's really thinking about this here. But just to show you guys a little bit more about what these can do and how they can help you really concentrate on what kind of work you should be looking for. One of my first experiences here when I started working here was someone walked in the door and said, I have applied to 35 jobs this week and no one has contacted me back. Well, I remember thinking, well, did this gentleman actually want any of those 35 different jobs? I mean, he wanted a job, obviously. He needs the money, he needs benefits. Was he just applying for any old job? Any help wanted sign? Because there's a lot of those right now. And I can understand if you might think, I just need some money coming in. But the more you focus on what you know, what you're good at, and what your priorities are, the more successful you're going to be and the faster you're going to be able to find your next position. Okay, so remember that employers hire your skills, not your work history. So this can often be something that people who are doing a career change can really stumble over, and we often obsess about things and we hold on to them. And I often find that just having a conversation with you, maybe a 20-minute, 30-minute, an hour-long conversation, can really help you kind of talk that out. Any thoughts or questions, Brittany?
There's just a couple of additional questions in the chat that I think are pretty quickly to address. A couple of those are, where can you find the Dislocated Worker Program, as well as who would be a good person to contact if you're looking for a job if one has a disability? So for each of those, as Marnie said, in each career force location, there are multiple different agencies. There's one department called, or one agency called Vocational Rehab, and the other is one that would hold that Dislocated Worker Program contract. And so what Marnie's doing here is pulling up on CareerForce and just doing a keyword search for Dislocated Worker Program. It can come up, give you a little bit more information, but also what I encourage you to do is along the top of the screen there, you'll see it says find a CareerForce location. Find the location that is closest to you and give them a call. And just when you call them up, say, I'm calling to inquire about the Dislocated Worker Program. I'm calling to inquire about vocational rehabilitation services, and they'll point you in the right direction, because again, each location is going to have different resources. So just reach out to your local career force. All right, and a couple other questions are coming in, but I think we can save those until the end.
Sounds good. All right. So, think of your job. You may not realize it, and are doing something else. We ask others about a good place to order food, place to get our food delivered by, a good movie to watch, a reliable child care provider, or a mechanic. We talk to people when we're checking out at the grocery store. We talk to our family and our friends when we're just trying to keep in touch, and that is networking. It's just that when you are job searching, you're doing it a little bit more intentionally. So we want to encourage you to expand your network by starting with people that you know and people in your industry. So again, friends and family, also colleague, and then of course we encourage you to do some reaching out and research to find the makers or people who are in industry that you're curious about. So there are some cold calling type things that we might encourage you to do, but we'll give you the tools to do it and we'll support you the whole way. Because networking really gets the word out. Word of mouth is still the best way to get a job. We know that word of mouth is still the best way to get the word out. We just did a curbside career fair here at the beginning of December. One reason people came that day told us word of mouth from mom, their spouse at school. So mouth is really the word out. It really lets people know that you are ready, willing, and able to work. And it'll give them specific ideas if you start talking with them a little bit about your job search. Give them specific ideas of the jobs that you're seeking, the kind of things. And then expand your network even a little farther. Think about what you can do as far as participating in maybe civic groups or Toastmasters or a community education class or volunteering. A little bit more, and you can still do these things during this pandemic, while we're in our house, still doing volunteering. There are Toastmaster virtual events. There are communication. Again, if you need to, about real excited to do that, but you're willing to try, or if you've got so many ideas that you need to pick just one or two, we are a great sounding board for that. So please reach out to your local staff at Career Force location. We know that the best way to meet with the decision maker is to ask for a meeting with them. If you've never heard of informational interviews, 15-minute meetings that you as the job seeker set up in order to gather some information and exchange information about career advice, industry-specific information and updates, trends, and possibly even referrals. So in these little meetings or appointments, you are the one asking for information, but you are not asking for a job. So please do not offer a resume or portfolio, but bring a folder, and it should have a copy of your resume in it or a business card that you've made for just this networking situation, just in case you're asked for one. And then what the folder absolutely has to include is a list of questions to ask this person. And with each meeting, you're trying to. So here two, and again, be sending materials with a long version of this. But number one, do you need to meet? 2, how do you get your contact information? 3, call. You could email. A lot of people get a lot of emails to ignore. Voice can really get more results. You want to use a script to start with. Notes down, look up scripts are one that we send to you, so that you sound professional and you ramble. All right, then 4, you want to create a list, at least 5 to 7 of them. And the 2 informational interview. 1, what advice do you have for me? 2, who else do you think I should speak to? This question helps you multiply the size of your network and gets you speaking with the right person. So when you connect to a company offline like this, even if it is online through that, you become a real person. And then referrals are most effective things that find your next job, because 80% of jobs are not advertised and employed to hire people that they know, trust, and or somebody can vouch for. So your solid foundation, that starts with career planning. That's why I'm here today. Steps to getting to your next job. First, you want to research it for yourself, those assessments. No matter how old you are or where you're at within your career, take the time to consider what you love. Current job is making the best of your talents. You want to look at reasons for selecting line of work and the skills that you have to offer the next employer. You have to look at the lowest wage that you're willing and able to accept. You'll have to look at how working and how you're willing able to commute, or if you're willing to relocate for a position. Then the second step, researching the labor market and employers. You want to identify your top 5 to 10 employers and network. Try to reach out to 5 to 10 people per day. It is like a sales job. You might get 10 or 11 no's before you get that one yes. So you really have to put yourself out there over and over again. You or people and and then 3, your job search tools. Of course, your complete detailed work history for a master application, and then you'll look at completing at least a general or master cover letter to use and reuse and each apply to. And then together your this will take some time as well. You want to think about exactly who you'll be using as a reference. Sometimes this is their location to offered to be a reference. You want to think about people that you could ask to be a reference. An email, call them up, talk it over, and figure out and then you'll do some fine tuning. You want to treat job and don't realize all of the time that this takes. Most good writing helps you see your daily progress, and also it's just a really good practice because you often have to go back and look at your job. That completes massive that reference sheet. So keep records so that you can reuse them and identify specific actions that you want to get. Practice networking, you can practice career chat. You can practice interview stories with us by doing mock interviews. Remember that jobs is campaign. Selling a product, you're only one conversation away from a job. So remember and remind yourself that word of mouth is the way to get a job. Okay, Brittany, should we right now?
Sure. One thing, your microphone is getting a little in and out. It's getting a little skippy.
Okay,
but a couple of things that I just wanted to reiterate or emphasize is that on the previous slide, when Marnie was talking about using a script, when you cold contact someone or just reach out to them for one of those informational interviews, one piece of advice I got from a job seeker a while ago was he was very uncomfortable networking, and especially over the telephone. And so what he decided to do is he told me that, you know, if I'm face to face with someone, I can talk to them all day, no problem. But if you put a phone between us, it's super awkward. There's a lot of ums and uhs, filler words in there. So what he decided to do for himself was not only create a script, but he actually created 2 scripts. One, if when he was making that phone call, if he got a live person, and the second was for if he got a voicemail, because I'm sure we've all done it at some point in our life where we go to make a really important phone call and we expect a real person to answer, but we get that voicemail or vice versa. He didn't like that feeling of being caught off guard, and he wanted to know exactly what he was going to say. But on a side note, if you do choose to use a script, make sure that you rehearse it over and over. I say rehearse it to the point where it doesn't sound rehearsed, because you don't want it to sound like you're reading from a script. But if you need those notes in front of you, that's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly okay. So just a little tidbit there on scripts. And then the other part was when Marnie was talking about number 4 there on that slide of fine tuning. Oftentimes we talk about treating your job search like a job. So it, on average, takes about 30 to 40 hours per week to conduct a successful job search. And when we throw that average out there of 30 to 40 hours per week, a lot of people are like, holy buckets, 30 to 40 hours a week job searching. Please know that when we say that, that doesn't mean 30 to 40 hours a week of just surfing online job boards. That 30 to 40 hours is an accumulation of all of your job search activities. So, taking the workshop here today, that's a job search activity. That counts towards those 30 to 40 hours. Investing time in your resume as well. Networking, doing those informational interviews, all of that goes towards those 30 to 40 hours. So it's, like I said, an accumulation of all of your job search activities. And now, Marnie, let's, if it's okay, if we can take a peek at a couple of questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What types of resources, tips, or advice are available for more specific career changers, such as a person going from maybe working in retail management or customer service for the last 10 years to someone that is looking for a possible stay-at-home role, or at least for the time being?
I would want to speak to that person individually. I would want this person to reach out to their local career force staff and talk with them, both with the job service staff like Brittany and I, but also the dislocated worker staff to see if they're eligible for that program. And I think at that point, I would be able to give more strategic, personalized advice.
Perfect. And the next one, what happens when you come up with a job that you like, but nobody wants your skills? Is there any help for cold calling or creating a need for a company to hire you?
Well, that's definitely something I would also want to have a more extensive conversation about because I would want to know what skill sets and what industry. It's something better for an appointment one-on-one where we talk about that. Um, Brittany, any thoughts?
Nope, I completely agree with that. Reach out to your local career force. And I mean, that's what we're here for. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here and ready to help. The next question is, do you have specific recommendations or scripts for cold contacting or setting up those informational interviews?
I do have a script, I believe, that is in one of the handouts. I will make sure that we send out any scripts that we have on hand here. And I will look up some online too if I find some good places online that will help you put together a script. I will send that as well in the follow-up email.
Perfect. And what help is out there for people who may have a felony?
Excellent question. Most of us are trained to help with this kind of background. If you have something on your criminal record that is really preventing you from being successful in your job search, we have people who are ready to help you with this. We even have a specific class called New Leaf. They've been doing this one, but not as regularly. So definitely reach out to your career force location to see if you can get that information earlier versus waiting for the next time that's offered.
Perfect. And then I gave an example of a gentleman that had two scripts, one if he got a live person and one if he got a voicemail. Do you think you're able to provide two scripts for those instances?
I will definitely work with Brittany to get that out there to you guys.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And like I said, if we can't find something if whatever we send doesn't work for you or you have more questions, please contact us so that we can help you out. We have many times helped people write accomplishment statements on resumes, helped people reword cover letters, helped people reword interview stories when they're doing their star stories. So that's part of our job. That's part of what we do here. So please feel free to reach out to your local staff. This is our job. We're waiting, ready, willing to help you. And it's really the best way to get that more personalized advice as well. All right, so we'll summarize here. We want to think of career planning like planning a trip. While it's impossible to plan everything along the way, it's always good to know where you're going. What direction are you headed in, generally speaking, at least? Otherwise, it's too easy to get sidetracked or detoured along the way. You want to break it down into stops along the way, or steps in this case. Where are you going? You need to map out how you'll get there and what is the best route to take. Depending on your industry, you might focus on using different job search tools. Whereas to one person, having a LinkedIn profile and a very active online presence might be important in their job search because of their industry in their geographic location. For another person, that may not be a tool that they use at all in their job search. So what is the best route for you? What tools do you need to spend your time on? Also, you've got to do your research about yourself, about the employers that you need to target. And you need to set an itinerary or a schedule, a time limit with some deadline dates, because you'll have to manage your time and complete steps. And finally, decide on a final destination. Make a strong commitment or a decision towards what it is you want. Now, we know that every journey starts with a step. And so we talk about goal setting a lot, especially in our creative job search workshops. We talk about creating a plan for achieving both your short-term and your long-term career goals. Goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. These are SMART goals, and this is another worksheet that we will send out with the follow-up materials. Again, SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-specific. Remember that job search is hard and you have to do it for yourself, but you do not have to do it alone. So again, one last time, we'll plug, call or email your local Career Force staff for both support and accountability. All right, any last questions? I know it's a little after 12 here. This does conclude our workshop for today, and we highly recommend contacting your local Career Force staff for career guidance, resume writing, mock interviews, job search strategies, and you can also access virtual resources at the Virtual and Interactive Services page on Career Force MN. And thank you. Ms. Brittany.
So there are a couple more questions. Someone wants to know if we host a class that provides organizational and record-keeping tips.
Oh my gosh, I would love to do a class like that. I don't know if we would be allowed, if it would be job search specific enough, but I can definitely throw it out there to somebody because I would love to do that. Keeping good records is so important. I've said before in other workshops that it's one of the most agonizing struggles that job seekers have in our resource room when we're open and people are at the computer lab. They have such a hard time if they can't remember passwords, if they don't have them written down, or if they can't get back in using their security questions and answers. So keep good records.
The next one, do you happen to have the contact information for the new LEAF class or for help for those with felonies?
We can definitely find it for you.
Yeah, we can definitely include that in the follow-up.
Yep.
And then
Brittany's making a list.
I
She'll
am
check
making
it twice.
a list because I don't want to make any false promises here.
Thank you.
Otherwise, there's just some, is career force hiring?
Ugh.
Otherwise, yeah, it just looks like a lot of good comments.
All right, folks. Well, it's 12:05. I will let you get to your lunch. Please take care out there. And as we said, reach out to your staff at your location. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.